gewöhnlichen Leuter, von Freude dort gescheint jede Gas. Für was ist die Sonne, als da liegt die Geräute, verkmarret am Beis und in Kass. Für was ist die Sonne, als da liegt die Geräute, verkmarret am Beis und in Kass. Es weint ein der Himmel, das Haus und das Gessel, es treuer das Herz Stielerei. Sie können vergessen, wie können vergessen, vergangene Schoen frei. Sie können vergessen, wie können vergessen, vergangene Schoen frei. Deine Tränen, vergess deine Sorgen, zu treuern ist nicht gedacht. Es kann sein schön als morgen, sie sicher als morgen, wird euch scheinen Sonne auf das Mai. Es kann sein schön als morgen, sie sicher als morgen, wird euch scheinen Sonne auf das Mai.
Beautiful.
Okay, so Marif, can you put on the wall?
You need to stop your share.
Yeah, I'm stopping
Yeah.
sharing. Okay.
We probably need to make this bigger, right? It's
Yeah,
pretty
a
small.
vessel.
Everybody can see that?
Okay. Everyone can see it? It's big enough, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so Janet, can you start reading the English, please?
Versuche es, die zentrale jiddische Schulorganisation, Central Yiddish School Organization, known as CSHO for short, was the prime mover for Yiddish education in Poland before World War II. At its height, its schools taught more than 20,000 children. Its Realgymnasie was the first high school where Yiddish was the language of instruction, and its teacher seminary in Vilna produced many school teachers. Leib Obeskin was a graduate of the seminary, and he taught until the German invasion. He was also active in the illegal activities of the Bund and the Polish Communist Party, and was arrested several times. In the Vilna ghetto, he continued his teaching and political activities, and in 1942, he joined the Jewish resistance, the Vereinigte Partisaner Organisation, in its struggle against the Nazis. His poems and songs aimed to raise the morale of the fighters and to recognize the Soviets leading the offensive against the Germans. Obeskin was killed in action in the final battle to retake Vilna in July 1944. Here, Misha Reitzin sings, "For was ist der Himmel? Why is the sky?" He was born in Ukraine, studied voice in Moscow, and sang with the Bolshoi Opera, I can believe that, and the Moscow Philharmonic. In 1972, his family emigrated to Israel, where he sang with the Tel Aviv Opera, then moved to New York in 1974, where he starred with the Metropolitan. Wunderbar.
Okay, thank you, Janet. So let's start reading. Basia, can you read it? You can read Yiddish?
Nicht sehr schnell, but I'll try.
Man darf nicht schnell. Man darf nicht schnell. Komm ehrlich.
Für was ist der Himmel gewinn gekochten Leute von Fried hat geschenkt jeder Gas. Für was ist die Sonne als lichtig Leute für Chimeras.
No,
Achmaret.
Achmoret.
How do you say it?
Achmoret.
Farchamas. Farchamet.
Farmaret.
Yeah,
Farmaret.
okay.
Farmaris. Heint. Bis und in Kess.
Good. Can you translate it?
That's the hard part.
If not, we will let Maurice do it. So it's up to you.
Das ist genug.
Okay, no problem. Maurice, please.
Sure. Für was ist der Himmel gewesen, Nachten, Leute? Why?
Maurice, we can barely hear you.
Oh, okay. Why was the sky so bright yesterday that every joy shone up from every street? Why is the sun, which was so bright and red, cloudy today, angry, very angry?
Okay. Okay, so let's go on and with the Yiddish. Elaine, please.
Can you hear me?
Bob has a question.
Just wanted to say that I
Can you-
just.
can you hear me?
just rang.
Minna, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Bob.
Okay, Maurice, what does Leute mean in this context?
Means bright, brightly lit up.
Leute means, oh,
Mhm.
next.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Elaine, it's wonderful
Okay,
flower.
Heint is mein Geburtstag and the
Oh.
just rang. That's why I walked away. That's why I walked away to answer the door. And I thought it was a solicitor, but no, my kids from Pittsburgh sent me. So I just.
Ah,
Happy
bravo.
birthday.
Isn't it beautiful?
Happy
Yes.
birthday, Elaine.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bis 120.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, es weint, from es weint.
Yeah.
Yo.
Es weht heim der Himmel, das Häus und das Gessel es treuert. So heaven is crying today, and in the little street or the alley, and in the alley, it's sad. There's mourning. I think, I'm not know if that's the correct way to put it together, because it's sad. It mourns, the alley mourns.
Yeah, it's Treuet das Herz. The heart mourns quietly.
Oh, das Heart, I'm sorry.
Das
I'm
Herz,
sorry, right, the
right.
heart, right, the heart, I should have gone on, das Heart Stillerheit. The heart quietly mourns in the
Right, good.
streets. Sie kann men vergessen, wie kann men vergessen, vergangene schon von Fried. So if one can forget, how can one forget the bygone hours of happiness?
Good.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Oh, okay.
No, thank you, thank you. Maurice, you want to add anything?
No, that's fine. The C is just an indication that it's a question. C can ben vergessen.
Okay,
Can,
so it should be really twice. How can one forget? How can one it's both. of-
well, the first one is just, can one forget? Sie
Got
can ben
it.
vergessen. It's
Got
like,
it.
in Spanish, you can put a question mark inverted at the beginning of a sentence.
Yeah,
That's
in
what the
Hebrew,
C-
it's
C-
ha'im. Yeah, they do it in
Yes.
Hebrew, it's ha'im.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah,
right.
that's right. Cookie, yes, what?
What does "seroidet" mean?
What?
No,
Toyet, toyet is, it's to
Troyer, like-
mourn, so like some,
Mourn?
Okay, let, you ask a question, let Maurice answer you. So,
it's to be in mourning, like to mourn someone's death.
Okay, Shannon Dunn.
okay? Okay, so let's go on. Isabel, I saw that you joined us. Can you read, Isabel?
I'll try.
Okay, that's,
Wish or vis.
Dish.
Fish.
fish.
Okay,
Good.
wish euch let's see. Wish euch deine Tränen. Vergess deine Sorgen, I'm sorry.
Sorgen,
Zu treuern is nicht gedei. It sounds like it should finish somewhere.
no, that's it, to treuern is nicht gedei.
Okay, so wish, I don't know. What is wish?
Wipe,
Why?
wipe away your tears.
Okay, wash, okay, why are your tears?
Wipe. Wipe.
Uvish.
WHITE?
No,
WIPE, wipe
Wipe,
away your
okay,
tears.
now I understand. Wipe away your tears. Forget your cares,
Your troubles. Sorgen.
okay, your troubles.
Worries.
I can't do it.
Okay, so Maurice, please, and
Okay,
then you will
so
continue
wish euch
reading and
deine
Maurice will
Tränen.
translate.
Wipe away your tears, vergess deine Sorgen, forget your troubles. Zu treuern is nicht gedei. It's not worth it to mourn. Mourning, it's not worth
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Okay, so you go on reading and
Can-
Maurice will translate.
Scan sein schön als morgen. I'm sorry. Sis dich sicher als morgen wird euch scheinen. Wird euch scheinen die Sonne euch das night.
Yeah,
Something like the sun is going to shine again.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, Maurice, please.
Sure, scan sein, so it's es can sein. It may be shown as morgen that even tomorrow, es ist sicher as morgen, for sure, wird euch scheinen die Sonne auf das Nacht. The sun will shine again.
Vielen Dank.
Okay, any other questions? Comments?
So that's the whole song?
That's
So,
it.
any questions, guys? Yeah, Elaine, and I see Steve. Elaine?
okay, when I looked up shining, it also said rise.
Huh?
That the sun will rise again. I know it has shining in it, but the dictionary, is that an acceptable, the sun will rise again?
It may be, I mean, it may be used that way too. It'll rise again, it'll shine again.
Okay, Steve?
That sort of answered what I was thinking about. I think the phrase makes me think it's just the sun will shine anew. More of a poetic phrase, the sun will shine anew.
Right, and actually there is a word in Yiddish, oif snai, where you don't have the dust, oif das nai, but there is a word, oif snai, again.
Okay, any more questions before we listen to it once again?
Can I,
Okay.
wait, can I just ask about oif snai? Is it oif samech with a little, like apostrophe, like?
Yeah.
The dos is,
Call it a yud.
as, well, an apostrophe snai. Off.
Yeah, oif
Yes.
snai, right, it's
Okay.
oif das nai, right.
Okay, so I am sharing again. So, Mariv, you stop the sharing?
Yes, I'm gone. You can go ahead.
Where is it here? Okay.
For was ist der Himmel gewennechten Läuter, von Fried und gescheint jede Gas. For was ist die Sonne, als liegt die Geräute, verchmaret am Bösen in Kass. For was ist die Sonne, als liegt die Geräute, verchmaret am Bösen in Kass. Es weint ein der Himmel, das Haus und das Gessel, es treuer das Herz Stielerei. Sie können vergessen, wir können vergessen, vergangene Schoen frei. Sie können vergessen, wir können vergessen, vergangene Schoen frei. Deine Tränen, vergess deine Sorgen, zu treuern ist nicht gedacht. Es kann sein schön als morgen, sie sicher als morgen, wird euch scheinen Sonne das Mai. Es kann sein schön als morgen, sie sicher als morgen, wird euch scheinen Sonne das Mai.
Oh,
Okay,
beautiful.
great. Morty, hello.
Hello, everybody.
Good to see you.
Oh, Shalom Aleichem, Marty.
Yeah.
Aleichem Sholem.
That's
Yeah, and
wonderful.
Maurice Naruski. Good to see you again, everyone.
And Leah.
Okay, so let's continue with the story. Sorry?
Es ist gut zu sein zurück.
Yeah, I agree. Ich bin masking. So let's start.
Julia, Leah and Julia and Morty, happy to see you.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Where's Sergio?
And Jerry's here too.
Freilich zu sein du.
Queen of Leah.
Okay, guys, we might finish the story today. We may. So,
Yes, an optimist.
you've been an optimist.
Is anyone here from New York? New York
Manuel
City?
Sadani.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yes,
can do in New
There's
York.
a Yiddish
How
festival.
long ago? How long ago from New York?
No. I heard there's a Yiddish festival going on in Central.
Nice.
Yeah, Morgan.
Tomorrow night.
Morgan Oyvind.
Oh, boy, with Zalman Mosek, yeah, I know him well.
Maisha's in New York.
Is anybody going? We thought about getting a bunch, we still might go from Allentown. We can get some transportation. We don't want to take the bus and the subway.
I'd be afraid to get in a huge crowd with all Jews. That's a good place.
Oy
Maurice,
vey.
are you going? Maurice,
So viel Jeden.
Maurice, are you going?
No, I'm not going.
No?
Ich
Ah,
will,
the
ich will
Vinkl
gay.
with the car.
Ich wil gay
I
ooit
sent-
de wetter, ooit de wetter is Shane.
Shame.
Everybody keep a watch. I'm hoping they put it on Zoom at the last minute.
Nee,
Yeah.
nee.
No, no.
Maurice, have you ever gone? Because they've done this before.
I have.
You,
No, I live in
Sure.
Houston most of the time.
I went like 40, 50 years ago, and was I dying to get on that stage? Oh, God. I didn't know anybody and nobody knew me. Oh, yeah. I was born too late.
Okay, guys, let's go. Let's move to the, hopefully this time I can share.
Pero cuéntame, dime.
Now you failed. Okay. And
¿Ya?
I think you stopped
Ok,
at the,
mándame un texto, un email, diciéndome qué es lo que necesitas.
Es ist machen größer. Ja, ist es größer.
I hope
Tengo que
Morty's not
buscarlo en cuenta.
telling a secret in his.
Yeah, I hope so
Spanish.
too.
so,
Already-
גרסר, דני, אתה יכול להגביל את זה? את הכיתוב? just, יש אנשים שמבינים עברית. Okay, so, when my husband will be around, he will get
What set
a
of
bit
letters
larger.
in them there? What page are we on?
I think here, raise a lot of,
Yeah,
30.
yeah, so that was the one?
yes.
Just a moment, he will try to enlarge it, okay? I told you it's not my computer, so.
Hi, Dan.
Oh,
Too big.
No, close the
Okay.
sidebar. You can take that sidebar off.
No, I need the sidebar. I really need the sidebar. I'll tell you why. That's how I know who comes in and who goes out.
Oh, okay.
And that's how I know how to call on you. So that's a bit better.
Everybody can change it on their own screen under view options, right?
Yes,
Machen größer.
so.
Page 30.
I think you stopped at Raisel Ort. You stopped at the top of the
Yes.
page, guys.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Morty, can you read, please?
Yes, starting with Reisel.
Yes.
Reisel hat aber Glickte gekickt auf einem auf den anderen. Ha! Was wird ihr etwas sagen dazu? Die Mame mit der Baben haben sich zugeworfen, behaltene Blicken in Geschwiegen. I'll translate. Reisel felt lucky and looked one to the other. What will you say about this now? The mother and the grandmother gave each other hidden looks to each other, quiet and kept quiet. Bin ich schon mit Masel an Einwohnerin bei Reiseln. Und sie hat sich Tage genötigt in noch an Einwohnerin. I am already with luckily a roommate at Reisel's, and she is of course very happy to have a roommate. Mach me sie hat gewohnt in a Stiebel, nicht kein Sach größer für a größeren Kasten. Because she used to live in a little room, not much larger than a big box. Wenn Reisel hat mich heimgebracht, ist der Mann ihrer mit dem glänzten auf der Hand und die ibere gefinnef Yorshim Arim a gegengekommen mir mekabel punem sei. When Reisel brought me to her home, her husband with the youngest in his hand, and the other 5 Yorshim children around, looked at me, came to me to meet me face to face. Hat ausgesehen, gur stark, zufrieden mit mein Kommen. He looked very happy with my coming. Yorshim really is not children. It means inheritors. People who
Yes.
are going to inherit.
Yes.
But here it really means children too. You want me to?
Offspring.
Yeah, just another, the next
Okay.
paragraph, please.
Nu, wusstest du etwas sagen dazu, ha? 10 Gulden a Woche, wie ich bin a jiddische Tochter. So, what will you say now about this, huh? 10 guilders a week, for sure as I am a Jewish daughter. Achitz alte Kleider in Shir, in addition to old dresses and shoes. Achitz dem, wenn sie von Hand und geben alle Papravekte, nor die
Popravkes.
Papravkes. Okay, in addition to that, they will give you all, I don't know what Papravkes means.
Popravkes, I think it's Polish. All the things, all the mending of clothes.
Repair work.
Repair work.
Repair work, the mending of clothes.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Popravkes.
We'll give you all the care work, not only to you. Du hörst, Berish? Do you hear that, Berish?
Okay,
Berish,
thank you.
okay.
Thank you, Marty. Steve.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I see. Steve, you raised your
Yeah.
hand.
Popravka. You said, I just want to be clear. You said that it's just for mending of clothing, or is it mending of anything?
I think it can also be of shoes, I think.
But not like, you wouldn't say like, it's dezelfde verb van verrichten.
For what? For
Verrichten? To repair, to make right?
Oh.
I don't think it's like, like no, like furniture or something like this.
Okay.
No, it's
Okay.
just something like, either clothes, mainly clothes, maybe even shoes, but I'm not sure. Anyone else heard about it? Because my mother used to say it all the time. That's why I know it. Anyone else heard about it? Yeah. Rafael, please.
Yes. In the Buchner dictionary, it's listed as repair or convalescence or correction. So it's repair in general, I think. It's verrichten.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. In my house, it was always referred to clothes. So, but yeah, probably right. Yeah.
Verrichten is usually means to correct.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Or okay, thank you. So, Simona, would you like to continue?
Oh, okay, I'll try.
Okay.
Nu was
No,
es
no,
du
here.
Nein?
Berish. No. The next paragraph. Berish.
Berish hat geschwiegen, hat sich abgekehrt, kedei die Parnasse gebären seine soll nicht sein die Simcha.
Okay.
Right?
Can you translate?
That's a good question. I'll try. Where are we?
Berish.
Barish, I think is the name.
Yes.
Yes.
Was quiet,
Yes.
right? Silenced himself.
Yeah.
Well, upgekehrt is I can't remember the name.
He
of
turned.
what.
He turned.
I think he turned. He turned.
Oh, he turned. Despite the
No, in
No.
order. Kedei is in order. So that.
the parnasa is when you give to somebody, right?
No.
No.
The parnose geberin is the one earning the money in the house.
Livelihood.
Yeah, the livelihood.
Born, seine soll nicht sein die Simcha. So his should not see the Simcha is a holiday. It's a celebration.
Happiness.
Happiness.
The happiness. Okay. Rafael, can you translate it, please?
Yeah. Berish was quiet. He turned aside so that the woman who was giving this income, that's the Parnasa Geberin, his wife, shouldn't see his joy.
Okay, thank you. Simona, please go on and read, and Rafael will translate.
Okay, I'll try. Sismel Menschen von mir Kleben. Ken Giche verdienen Gilden, hat bei sich getracht, aber bald ist ernst geworden. Wie wird man stellen Zwiegel? Man hat sich lang geischovet. Ich kenne das Wort nicht. Ich kenne das Wort nicht.
Okay, so Rafael will explain it.
She is more a person than I am as I live. She can more easily earn some money, he thought to himself. But soon he became earnest. Where will we place the cradle? They thought for a long time. They thought about it for a long time.
Okay, thank you. So, Marsha, that's your part, Marsha.
Nur Reselsmann, was ist gewinn a Künstler euch stellen Sachen in sein Kleinschick Stibele. Razel's husband was an artist, and he was very good at putting out things in his little house.
Just a moment, Marsha. He was not an artist. He was an artist of putting things in the house. He was very good.
He was crafty at putting things in his house.
Arranging.
Arranging things in his house. Okay. Hat sich a Patch getan mit der harder Hand. He gave himself a patch, a hit with his hand somehow. I don't know what harder means.
He slapped himself. He slapped himself.
He slapped himself.
Callous.
Somebody's saying something. I don't understand.
Calloused. He slapped himself with his hardened hand, with his calloused hand.
Oh, schönen Dank. Und
Gerinselten. Gerinselten.
Rinselte, Nurikin, Nidrikin, sorry, Nidrikin, Stern in his, he hit himself in his forehead, but I'm not sure what good Rinselton is. And-
Wrinkled.
Wrinkled.
Oh,
Wrinkled.
Rinselton is wrinkled. Oh, schönen Dank. Stern allein und hat mit Simche ausgerufen, Reisel, hab es Reisel, ich hab es unter den Tisch. They have it under the table. He
Yeah,
put the cradle under the table.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Marsha. We will do it every week. We will see. Okay. Thank you. Leah, can you read, Leah?
Okay. הקיצר, מאוד mich ארון, let me see, ארון gerockt mit einem kleinen schicken Wiggele unter den Tisch. Ich hab geguckt mit offene, verchiduschte Augen geglacht, no, I don't know. Eugelach auf dem Bräutigam Brett von Tisch, was ist gewesen bedeckt mit der Sach Spinnwes und hab teukerig getracht. Das ist das die neue Welt, wenn ich bin wohin. Wohin is living, right?
Wohin?
Where?
Ich bin herabgekommen und das ist ihr Himmel. Und ich habe mich beter gewöhnt.
Bitter.
Oi, oi, oi. Oi, oi, oi is right. That's it.
Bitter gewöhnt. Okay, so Beverly, you want to translate it or you want to ask a question?
No, I don't want to translate, but to me, this is the most important part of the whole story. When she looks up and she sees the table, this is the new world. To me, this part of the story gets me right in the heart.
Absolutely.
Okay, but let's translate first. Let's translate first.
Yeah,
okay. Maurice, can you translate it, please?
Sure. Hakitze, in short, hat mich untergehockt. It pushed me under mit dem kleintchen Wiggele in my tiny little cradle unter den Tisch, under the table. Ich habe geguckt mit offene, verchidischte Äugelach. I looked with wide open, surprised little eyes auf dem brudigen Brett von dem Tisch, at the dirty board of the table. Was ist gewesen bedeckt mit der Sach Spinnwebs und hab teurige getragen. And so this board, or the bottom of the table, which was covered with a lot of spider webs, and I thought to myself sadly, "Ot das is das neue Welt." Oh, this is the new world. Wohin ich bin herabgekommen, to which I've come down from, come down to. Und das ist ihr Himmel, and that's the heaven, that's the sky. Und ich hab mich bitter geweint, and I wept bitterly.
Okay. So, anyone wants to say anything about the story? Ask Rafael, yeah.
Yeah, just a small matter in that third line from the bottom. What das
Okay,
is,
so I'll go back. I stopped sharing, but I can go
it's
back.
okay. It's short. What das is das, die neue Welt. The use of that second das. What das is das, die neue Welt. That das is the fourth word there, is actually adverbial, and it means something like in this way.
Mhm.
So this
Ah.
is, in this way, the new world.
Mhm.
Wow, that's
Okay,
wonderful. Thank
thanks.
you.
Any more? Someone
Here-
else wants to comment? Or
Here,
Julia is trying to have her, hold her hand up, Julia.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Beverly said. This is the kernel of this particular story. And the new world, to me, is looking up and seeing the bottom of the table. I find it very, very, I don't know what the word is, but it's very sad at the end.
Verklemmt.
Heartrending.
Verklemmt, ja. Das ist sehr verklemmt.
I have a question.
yes, Michelle.
In terms of the story, obviously they needed a wet nurse to feed the baby. but
Yes.
Was it common to have the wet nurse take the baby home?
Yes.
Or they brought the baby to the wet nurse.
No, she took the baby with her because she lived far away. So the mother and the
She
grandmother.
left the baby with the nurse.
Correct.
Yeah, the nurse was a guy and she took the baby to her home, which is why.
The nurse was not a goy.
She wasn't a goy, she was Jewish.
Goy,
No, she was Jewish.
She refused. She didn't want a goyish nurse.
Okay, I didn't remember
When
that.
she could afford, the only one she could afford to pay was this woman who was staying at home with her own 5 children in the one room. So she
Okay.
left her there.
Yeah, okay, so it just, that also seems very sad to me.
It is sad.
It's extremely
Very,
sad.
very sad.
Well, the
it
whole-
sets
the whole thing
stage
is-
for a
I'm
very
sorry.
sad life.
Yeah.
Maurice,
The whole,
It
We cannot
sets
hear you.
the stage for Esther Keitman's very sad life.
Absolutely.
Yes,
And here
absolutely.
her mother is virtually giving her away.
it could also be, metaphorical in the sense that, the perfection, quote unquote, perfection of heaven, is never, what life actually is. So coming down from heaven, coming from this heavenly place, you have to understand, that life is not a Himmel. Life is, spider webs and complications and, all those kind of things as well. So it's, in a way, it's a play on this idea of, children have this perfect life and everything is great. They're a gift from God and so forth. But in the life of children, it's not so simple.
I think also this has to do with the fact of the way that Esther Kreitman was treated by her father as well as her mother. And by
Yes.
the 2 brothers who nobody really thought would have anything to do with her.
well, this we will see in the next story that we are going to read. So just Rachel and then Barbara.
I just wanted to say, regarding the question as to where did that wet nurse was living, as far as I know, a lot of those wet nurses were living with the families for which they were working. The families didn't bring the babies to them. They were there like another servant.
Okay, thanks. Barbara?
No, I just want to point out, we've read this story before, and I've remarked before that Jane Austen was also sent away as an infant, and she didn't return to her family until she was 4 years old. So it was not an uncommon practice, apparently, that this occurred. Of course, that was England, and that was a different culture. But I just wanted to say that this did occur.
Well, and plus, we already know from this little part of it that the mother didn't want to have anything to do with her right from the beginning, right from the start. And and she favored the boys. And we know that the mother, Bashevis, she was an intellectual in her own right. She loved to read. She spent hours reading and thinking. And I think, that's what she really wanted to do. She didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom. And in some of the other stories in Hutton's based in Shtib, he talks about how a lot of times, even though the father was the rabbi, but sometimes people would come to ask for advice, and the mother, Bashevis, would meet them, and she would give the advice, which was equally good, if not better than what their father, the rabbi, would have given her. So it's very possible that she really had no interest in keeping this child at home at all.
Thanks, Maurice. Bob?
Yeah, I'm kind of like what Steve was saying. This is, I think there's almost some humor, even though I guess we know too much background, and maybe the beginning of the story with wanting her to be a boy and all that. We set our kind of expectation, but it's kind of funny. Like, this is the new world, and the top of the table is my new heaven. Like, that's what it's all about. And you know what? That's what it's, and I think the writer at this older age, as an adult, is saying, this is what it's about. This is reality. And it's almost a little bit, I think, humor. I guess maybe I caught that, and maybe other people just see it as totally sad. I find life great. And I think a lot of the people who grew up with nothing saw life as great and enjoyed life and found so. Esther might have been a little bitter, but I saw some humor in whatever. Maybe I'm an optimist.
Good. Okay. Okay, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go off on a tangent here or anything, but it kind of caught my attention, this last line of this story, because it's almost exactly the last line of Bernard Malamuth's first novel. Roy Hobbs. The very last line of The Natural is he puts his hands in his face and quote, wept many bitter
Wonderful.
tears.
I love that. Yeah.
And there's a kind of a, I mean, this is probably a discussion for anybody who's interested in having this kind of discussion, but there's something very interesting about that connection and what happens to Roy Hobbs and the whole struggle to be a hero that he failed. And also this too. This is like, everything is good and then it's not. You struggle to live. You laugh. As Malamuth says, humor is the spice in the wine of life. And it just there's a lot of connections there, and I'm wondering about that. That's all. Sorry.
Thank you, Steve. Karen?
I wanted to share something that I read in Wikipedia about Esther Kreitman. It's just a couple of sentences.
Okay.
It says, Kreitman had an unhappy childhood. According to her son, her mother gave her to a poverty-stricken wet nurse for the first 3 years, who left her in a cot under a dusty table, where she was visited once a week by her mother, who did not touch her. The dust caused her to go blind, and she only partially regained her sight. Later, as a highly gifted child, she had to watch her younger brothers being taught, while she was relegated to menial household duties.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Karen. Rachel? And then we will move to the other story and see how. Okay, go on.
Julia, say something too.
No,
Okay,
but
I just wanted to say that child development experts would say that this is the worst thing that you could do to a baby, not to allow the baby bond with mommy, and the touching of the mother holding the baby, that's what makes the baby grow and thrive. And babies, it's not that there's a study about babies that were just raised, fed in a hospital without mother's love, stopped thriving, did not grow. And this is where she was. Well, maybe she grew up physically, but her suffering started right away from the lack of mother's love, which is psychologically of most importance.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Bonnie, I saw that you raised your arm before, Bonnie.
Yes. So this is the first time I'm hearing the story. So I'm wondering that the brothers were taught, would have been typical at that time, I suppose, for girls to not be important and not be taught. Of course, it's a little bothersome to hear that she was kind of like Cinderella, having to clean the house. But from other people's knowledge, would that be, besides the girls not being taught, but to have to do more of the household chores than the boys who were so privileged, I guess, to be born a boy?
Okay, I think Julia can. I think Julia can answer you. Julia.
Yeah, what makes this story remind me of is what we said last time about the autobiographical novel that she wrote called Deborah, and the point where Deborah or somebody, the father is talking about what great things are going to happen to the boys. And when she asks, what about me? He says, why you're nothing. And that says a lot.
Okay.
We can't blame everything on the mother, but close to it, but not everything.
Okay, Cookie?
I just wanted to say the whole thing makes me very sad, because even being one of so many children, you don't get any love and affection. When I'm going to kindergarten at 5 and walking myself, and mama has 4 more after me, a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 1-year-old. How much love and affection, how much time does she have to give to a child? Hardly any. So you sort of grow up, and luckily I was a girl in my home because it was so orthodox that the boys had to go to yeshiva, they had to be daven. If they didn't daven, they got hit, and the girls were ignored. So at least I had an American public school rearing, and I was able to feel a little bit, 1 foot in America and 1 foot in Europe. But yes, a mother's love. So I tried to be the mother that I wished I had, although she was wonderful later when she had time, but she never had any time. So when she was ailing and I was able to be with her alone, I first got to get the mother love that I wanted as a child.
Thank you, Cookie. Thank you. Maurice and then Morty. Maurice.
Yeah, I just want to add to that, their father wasn't just a rabbi. He wasn't like a reform rabbi. He was a Hasidic rabbi. So there's no doubt that that whole sexist way of looking at girls pervaded that household. What he said went, and the fact that the mother went along with it doesn't mean she didn't resent it too. But it was, this is a traditional Hasidic home. And so those attitudes pervaded everything, not just him, but, his wife and the 2 boys. And it is sad.
Maybe we have Chinese blood in us.
Okay, Morty and then Alvin. Morty.
Drown the girl.
Yeah, I was just going to say a bit of what Maurice just said, but I disagree with the word sexist. I think that's a modern application of the word. More than sexist is really, we have to remember, like Maurice said, the father was Hasidic. The mother was not Hasidic originally. The mother was a Litvak, daughter of a Litvak family, Misnagdim, which was at the time pretty much the opposite of Hasidim. But both of them had this conception of boys being the ones that are going to carry out the tradition, which is the most important thing in Jewish life. Remember the stories, I think it was Peretz's talking in one of his stories, talking about the women being the footstool of the men. So this whole conception, it's not that the men were sexist, it was the whole concept of the man, by his studying, by his following the traditions, by his effort towards obtaining the Olam Haba, the world of heaven, not just for him, but for his whole family, was the important thing. And that derived, of course, bringing all those concepts into the real world had terrible consequences for girls. But that was part of life at the time. Remember, it was the women that supported the families financially. The women were the ones that worked. The women were the ones that had the stores, and they were proud of their position as supporters of families, where the boys were the ones that had the opportunity to study and so on.
Okay, thank you.
That's my little contribution.
Okay. Alvin, please.
I just wanted to mention that novelists write fantasy, and biographers also write fantasy because they write what they think happened, or they try to invade the thinking, the minds of those around them, and decide this is what the person must have meant. What I'm getting at is that when someone writes that she was treated this way or that way or the other way before age 4, it's unbelievable that they have such recollections. They may have been told things by other family members, but they haven't. They just don't have recollections. Even between 4 and 5, we have some vague recollections, but don't try to interpret them. That's really all I have to say.
Okay, it's a nice point of view. Okay, Beverly.
But look what the 3 of them became, all 3 geniuses. One got the Nobel Prize. I mean, it's amazing how whatever they were in nurture or nature, they were all genius writers. So I don't know, maybe they did something right.
Okay, Stephen, Rachel, and we finish with this. We will start the other story because it will give us another viewpoint, another point of view. So Steve.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond partly to Morty that, you know, because they didn't have the language back then for what sexism is, doesn't mean that it wasn't sexism. It was just an accepted idea. You know, and people did not speak against it or develop the language to speak against it. And the same thing is true with child rearing. I think it's a relatively, I know for a fact, it's a very modern, the way we treat our children is very modern, that we give our children personhood and peoplehood, I should say. And you know, and try to think of them. I mean, I think probably the first person to popularize that was Dr. Spock, not the one on Star Trek. You know, that he you know, he said that children are individuals. They're not just property. And I think that's the concept here, is that, you know, that these parents see their children as property rather than humans, you know, and they do with them what they need to do. And this is very true. I mean, I you know, kids, I mean, I think fewer kids are beaten today than they were back then. So there's a whole sea change in how we perceive childhood and children that this speaks to before that sea change, although not everybody has changed, certainly.
Okay, Rachel?
Yeah, I wanted to add to what Mordy said, that it's the boys that are carrying the tradition. Those were the boys also that were inheriting the property of the family. This is an economical thing too. A girl, according to Jewish law, cannot inherit. So they were going by Jewish law. So a girl cannot inherit her family's wealth. She goes with her husband, and that's it. So it's the boys inheriting the religion, the tradition, and the money. It's alles wegen Geld euch.
Okay, Maurice, and that's really it. Yeah, Maurice.
Right. Let me just say this. Everything that people have said is right, and it's all sexism. You know, the word anti-Semitism didn't exist before the 19th century. But for 1900 years before, there was anti-Semitism. Maybe the word didn't exist, but everything that we know about anti-Semitism existed for 2000 years before. And that's how it is with sexism too. The word didn't exist, but everything that we've described, that the men inherit, the men do this, the men do that, the girls are second class. As far as I'm concerned, that's sexism.
And on this note, we will move to Bashevi Zinger and what he wrote about his sister. I think it will be just interesting to see and compare. Where am I?
In Oxford.
No, in Cambridge, near Cambridge.
In Cambridge.
But the thing is, okay, not here. No. Marit, can you share?
Mina?
Yeah, Marit,
hold
can
on,
you
let me
share?
go get it.
Yeah.
Mayra?
Sandra?
Yes, I just came in. I come from a doctor. Just tell me what page are you on in
No,
Bashevi?
we are starting a new story right now, only I cannot find it because my husband decided to
Okay, I've got it.
go
I've
for
got
a
it.
walk. So you got it? Okay,
Yeah,
please.
hold on. Let me share.
So it's my Schwester by Yitzhak Bashevi Zinger.
Thank you.
So it's the first page. Sandra, it's the first page.
Yes, I have it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And
Hold on while I adjust the size here. Hold
okay.
on.
Rafael, if you can start with it, it will be nice.
Meine Schwester. Von Freuden hat man noch damals nicht gewusst. Aber in unser Stub hat sich abgespiegelt auf freudianische Drama. Someone's got, Leah, could you
Yes,
mute
someone is
yourself, please?
speaking, so please.
And I can't do everything at once. Hold on.
Can you mute everybody?
I can't see who it is.
I think,
Leah.
okay.
They stop.
Leah, I muted her.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, sorry. Start from the beginning, please.
Ja, von Freuden hat man noch damals nicht gewusst. About Freud, Sigmund Freud, we didn't know anything about at that time. Aber in unser Stub hat sich abgespiegelt der freudianische Drama. But in our house, there was actually the reflection of a Freudian drama. Meine Schwester, Esther, die Älteste, hat nicht gekonnt heusen zusammen mit meiner Mutter. My sister, Esther, who is the oldest, she was not able to live in the same house as my mother. Sie hat Cheshit gewähnt, as die Mama hat sie nicht lieb. She had the suspicion that mother did not love her. Das ist nicht gewähnt emes, aber es ist emes, as die Mama hat sie nicht gekonnt vertragen. Now that wasn't true, but what was true was that mother couldn't bear her.
So what's the difference?
She loved her, but she couldn't stand her. This happens. In der Doseker Schwester haben sich zusammengestoßen zwei alte Mischpoches, zwei gegengesetzte Charakteren und Nusrayas. In this particular sister, there were in conflict two old families, two contradictory characters and methods. Nusrayas,
Styles.
Styles, that's a good word for it. Mein älterer Bruder, Yisrael Yeshua, und ich sind gewinn geraten in der Mamas Familie. My older brother, I.J. Singer, Yisrael Yeshua, and I, we were,
Took after.
we took after, thank you, my mother's family. Mein Schwester hat gejarschend die chassidische Begeisterung, die Liebschaft zu Menschen, die Gutmütigkeit und die Exzentrischkeit von Tatensmischpoche. My sister, she inherited the Hasidic enthusiasm, her love of people, her good nature, and her eccentricity and the eccentricity of my father's family. Wenn sie wollte gelebt in andere Zeiten und Umständen, if she had lived in other times and conditions, wollte sie öfter geworden a leumdische Maid, a Ludmirer Maid. Maybe she would have been like the maid of Ludmir, who was famous as a kind of a Hasidic tzaddik. Aber ähnlich zu Hodel, or something like Hodel, dem Baal Shem's Tochter, the daughter of the Baal Shem Tov, was hat getanzt mit Chassidim, who danced along with the Chassidim. Die ältere Bobbe, was nach ihr hat mein Schwester geheißen, hat getragen Tzitzis. My great-grandmother, who, after whom my sister was named, she wore tzitzis and is gefahren zum Belzer Rebbe, and she used to travel to the Belz Rebbe, the Rebbe of Belz.
Okay. Just a moment. Everyone knows what it is?
Yes.
Yes.
Ritual fringes. Mein Schwester is given a chassid in a kleid. My sister, she was a chassid in a dress. Von ihr Mäuel haben herausgerät, herausgesungen und herausgeweint mit Kubolim, Tzadikim, Rebbetzins, Gabbatis, Heilige Yiddish. From her mouth spoke forth and sang forth and cried forth mystics, righteous folks, rabbis' wives, Gabbai's wives, Heilige Yiddish, holy women, was haben gefasst, Tanesim, who used to fast days of fasting, und weg in Yisrael, betten nach Farzeitige geworden, and who would travel to Eretz Yisrael to pray at the ancient graves. Ihre Neshama hat neiert gegart nach Yontif, Gesang, Hoffärtigkeit und Exaltatia. Her soul was more inclined to holiday, to song, to hopefulness, and exaltedness. Exhalation, I guess.
Exaltation.
Exaltation, that's the word. Thank you. Your English is better than mine, Rachel. Thanks.
Well, I had to study it from scratch, that's why.
Sie hat nicht bloß gelitten von Hysterie, nur euch gehabt leichte Anfallen von Epilepsie. She not only suffered from hysterics, she also had petit mal. She had small episodes of epilepsy. Es sind gewinn fallen, wenn es hat sich gedacht, als es sitzt in ihrer Dibuk. There were even cases when it appeared that a dibuk was residing in her.
So now we understand why I asked Rafael to read this
Yes.
paragraph.
Beautiful.
It's difficult. Anyway, anyone wants to ask anything about this paragraph or say anything about this before we continue?
Yes, I'd like to go over several of the words if it's possible.
Okay, which words do you know? I know that the words were difficult, so
Very
but
difficult.
Let's start at the top and I'll go down and you can see if you see them, okay?
yeah, so
Stop
let's
me
go
when
to
we
the
get close.
difficult ones. Like
Um,
zusammengestoßen.
Yeah,
Okay, Rafael, please. I will read the difficult ones and you will explain
right.
them, okay?
Please.
All right. That stoßen is to hit. And so zusammen hit against each other. We're in conflict.
Uh-huh, okay.
Okay.
That's a really, really good word.
Cursor.
Gegensätze.
Oh,
Okay, another one. Zwei Gegensätze.
Yeah, where is that word? Kegen, I'm looking in my own copy. Okay, Gegengesetzte. Gesetzt is seated.
Right.
Kegen is against. And
Against.
so these are, again, contradictory. And setzen here is not to seat. Setzen is to poke. So poking at each other.
Okay, so
contradictory.
before we continue, yes, Bob?
Do we know when this was written? Was she still alive, or any idea when this?
She was dead
Published.
already.
She was dead, okay.
She was dead by the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's
know
do
it here.
another word. Nuschaos.
Okay, a nusach is a manner of behaving. So nuschos, manners of behavior.
Can you put
It's
the
also-
cursor?
It can also be a formula.
Where is the word?
It's the line starting with gesetzte or zetzte.
Yeah.
Fourth word on that line.
In mathematics, Mina.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this isn't mathematics.
It's
Yeah.
mathematics, yeah. Okay, I'm trying to Sandra, tell me if I'm doing the things that you like. Good mutigkeit,
Good nature.
Absolutely.
Good nature.
good nature. Eccentriciteit, that's
Well, that we know.
Eccentricity.
Eccentricity.
Right.
Okay, Umstanden.
An Umstand is a situation. It's actually a Germanic word, not usually found in Yiddish.
Circumstances.
Circumstance, yeah. It comes from the word stay, to stand,
Yeah.
and is arum. So standing around, but it means circumstance. So circumstance, English, circum, around, stance, standing, same word.
So Sandra, Aroisgerät, we know.
All right, yeah, that I know, yeah.
Yeah, okay, Arois gesungen also.
That I know.
Arois gemeint the same.
Right.
Anissim is Tanit, is fast,
Yeah,
fasting.
tanesim, I think it's pronounced tanesim, fasts, not
That's
eating.
That's the Hebrew word, that's easy.
Yeah, fast days. Verzeitige,
Ancient, in the time
Ancient.
before the time, that means ancient.
Ancient, okay. Farsighted.
gegart, geegert, sorry. Geegert, naiert, geegert. Ihr neshome at naiert, geegert.
Nayert gegart, it's gegart.
Gegart.
Garen
Okay.
is to be eager. So she was eager for.
Okay.
Offerdigkeit.
Hopefulness.
What?
Okay.
Hopefulness. Hoffen is to
Hopefulness.
hope. So Hofferdigkeit is hopefulness.
Mhm.
And when people
So
think that
Wo is das of the site?
The line started with hot nayert, about the eighth word.
See, I can't. I'm sorry. I don't want to disturb people, but I can't follow. I can't search for it the way I could if it was English. My recognition is not good enough that I can just kind of pick it out.
Yeah, it's the fifth line from the end of the paragraph. Fourth line from the end of the paragraph about the, yeah, there it is. And it's next, two more words farther to the left. Hufferdigkeit, right there. Go down one word.
Down there.
Yes.
Yeah, there it is.
Hofferdigkeit. So what's the meaning of that word?
Hopefulness.
Hopefulness, okay.
Hopefulness, yeah.
Okay. And hysteria, well, that's what people say about women when they don't know anything about women.
It comes from Greek. It means uterine.
Yeah, like hysterectomy.
Okay, I think that's right. Hang on just a minute. I'm in a class right now, just a moment. Okay.
What is exaltia? Exaltatia?
Exaltation.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
Okay, but that's okay, guys. We did the difficult words.
Nina,
Yes, Maurice.
Appeal
Epilepsy.
Oh, epilepsy. Okay. What's
Epilepsy.
Yeah.
Okay, Maurice. Yeah.
yeah, I have a question. I think probably Raphael will know the answer. I've never seen, there's a sentence in here someplace, wenn sie wollt gewesen gelebt, which looks like a past perfect.
It
like
is a past
English or
perfect.
French or
Past perfect
I've
only
never seen that in Yiddish.
it only appears in literary
It
Yiddish.
looks like, I mean, did he commonly write like that?
Yes, it's only in literary Yiddish. People don't use it in speech.
No,
But
I've
there
never
is a
heard
past
it. I've
perfect.
never seen it written either.
Yep, that's how it goes. It's a weird construction, but it's used in writing.
What is the construction you're talking about?
Which sentence?
It says, wenn sie wollt gewesen gelebt. It's like if she had lived, which in English, you know, you say that all the time, and the other languages too. But in Yiddish, it just struck me as something strange.
If she had lived, contrary to
If she
fact,
had
conditional
lived,
past
then
perfect.
She is.
gewesen gelebt.
Okay, Beverly, yes.
I have a question. I looked it up. She met someone and moved to Antwerp because her husband was a diamond cutter. So,
Yeah,
and
we
then,
will read about it.
Oh,
We will
okay.
read it. It's in the story, yes.
and she ended up dying in London. I'm just wondering how they got out during the Nazis because she lived to 1954.
No, she moved to London before.
Okay.
Before it. She
Before.
got divorced and she moved to London before the war.
Okay, thanks.
And she wrote a novel called Diamanten about the diamond diamond merchants in Antwerp.
Yeah. Morty, please.
Yeah, I was just going back to the construction, the past perfect. I heard at home, wenn sie hat gelebt, which is slightly different from the way he's writing here.
Would you say
That was all.
as a Volt gelebt?
Sie wollt hat gelebt. Here it says, wenn sie wollt gewesen gelebt. What I had heard is, wenn sie wollt hat gelebt.
Right, and that's a more common
That's a more
construction
common,
for the past
yes.
perfect, yes.
Yes.
By the
Steve,
way,
I saw that you raised your hand, Steve.
Nina, oh,
Yeah, I had a question for Raphael about Farzeitike. Can that be used? I mean, only means ancient, or can it mean just in a time before?
The past.
Like, let's say if you were writing about a time 50 years ago or 100 years ago, could you use the same terminology?
Yeah, it means old style or ancient. It can also, referring to fruit, mean underripe.
Underripe?
Underripe, not Zeitek, but that's a completely different meaning. Old, it means old style or ancient.
Okay, Maurice, yeah.
I'm not going to use the word sexism, but you know, the diagnosis of hysteria was almost exclusively used on women. Just like that. That's where that word comes
Absolutely.
as a real disease. And I'm not going to say it was a sexist diagnosis, but here it is. Here's a Basheva Singer, not a doctor. He was just a kid, and he's repeating probably what his parents said. Oh,
But
she's
only with
she's
only with
hysterical, you know.
yeah,
But it comes from, you know, a uterus, so only
That's what I'm
women.
saying. That's
uterus.
exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Luisa?
Yeah, I have a question again about that construction because it begins with ben as opposed to beginning with oib, which would be the if for the conditional. Rafael, can you please comment on that?
Yes, then also means if in a contrary to fact conditional. If something had happened, but in fact it did not.
Right.
That's when you use then.
Okay, okay.
Wenn ich bin gewesen Rothschild, wollte ich nicht gewohnt in Lexington.
Thank you, thank you.
Or wenn ich wollt
Now you have
gewesen.
to sing the song.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Rachel?
Yeah, in the same sentence that he says hysteria, which makes a sound a little crazy. He also mentions epilepsy, epilepsy, which also means that her brain is not functioning completely normally. Macht ein bisschen Meshuggah.
Right.
In this
And
sentence,
how would a kid
between
have
the
known that?
epilepsy and
He
the
must have heard
hysteria.
his parents say it.
Yeah, epilepsy and hysterics together. Yeah.
Okay,
They
guys,
looked
we
at
have
me
a
like I'm
little bit.
shugene.
Okay,
Yeah.
we have a little bit time. So Rachel, can you finish this
Sure.
page for us?
Ja. Von meinem Vater ist sie gewesen an Isha. Freu. Und hat sich wenig mit ihr abgegeben. For my father, she was a woman. And again, Isha, in Hebrew, it's like Eloshon Kodesh, it's a, in a way, it's a put down. And now,
Derogatory.
yeah, a woman who, and
A female. She was a female.
okay.
Yeah.
Female is nekeva. That's another one.
Yeah.
But anyway, and he very little. He gave her. He devoted very little time to her. He didn't pay attention to her. Abgegeben. Geben is to give. He didn't give any attention to her any time. Mein Mutter hat sie nicht verstanden. Wir Hund versteht nicht das Kotschene Ei, was sie ist ausgesessen. My mother didn't understand her.
What's Kochina?
Kochine, what I found in the dictionary is a rolling. It's my mother didn't understand her like a chicken doesn't understand the rolling egg that she just sat on.
Oh.
Great image.
Okay.
I understand that there's a duck egg. Like
I thought so too.
Yeah, from a kachke.
Kochine.
Yeah,
but a coon is a chicken.
It's the adjective for duck.
Wait, so a chicken with a duck egg? I don't know.
Yeah, so it's this strange egg that wound up in her nest and she doesn't get it. She doesn't understand the daughter at all.
Right.
Yeah, but she the chicken sat on the egg.
Yeah, well, there was an egg, so she sat on it, yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Well, the image is really nice. I think we don't have time anymore. Marif, can you roll to the next page and see?
I don't see. Okay.
Yeah, it's not
Okay,
a short paragraph.
no. I think that, yeah, that will be time for, that will be a good place to stop. And Rachel, I let you read next time because that was nothing.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's, so you are sharing, Marif, so stop the sharing. Okay, and Naomi, I'm stopping the recording, so just a moment, Naomi.
Thank you.